right? You have a lot of turnover, possibly. Kelsey may be finished.
Where I'm looking up average life expectancy. I'm dreaming at this point. Like, I can't. I'm done with the season.
What's the next evolution of Pat Mahomes? And it's weird to be talking about a guy like, what's the next evolution of Pat Mahomes, and he's not 30. You could be anywhere doing anything, but you're hanging out with us, and we appreciate that. So wherever you're listening and however you're listening, we appreciate you guys for listening. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Gameplan Podcast. Alex Goodwin is my name. You can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, that's on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That is T as in tacos, S as in sangria, M as in margaritas. Kennedy Miller, my guy.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Man, nothing too much, dog. Where can the folks find you on Twitter, man?
Find me on Twitter at _Kennedy Miller _ Again, that's _Kennedy Miller _
All right, folks. Don't forget, follow the Gameplan Podcast on our official YouTube channel. Tap in, like, share, subscribe. Tell 10 friends to tell 10 more friends about the Gameplan Podcast. But Ken, I said T as in tacos. I should have said T as in trade. Because the Dallas Cowboys made a couple of those today, right? NFL trade deadline. Acquired Logan Wilson from the Bengals. Got Quentin Williams from the Jets, right? To try to make some sort of, adjustments to this terrible defense. So Kennedy Miller with the Cowboys sitting with 3 wins halfway through the season. Do you think this is, at least for this year, too little, too late?
Absolutely. It's over. Last night was...
you said it's over.
The season's over. I mean, last night was really a win, and you still have a chance to kind of save your season. But to put them at 5 losses and a tie, 3-5-1, and looking at the rest of the NFC, it's just going to be too much ground to cover. And then looking at their schedule, right? So if they had won against Denver and then they beat Arizona, go into the bye and beat the Raiders, you still got a chance. But you still got to play the Chiefs. You still have to play the Lions. You still have to play Philadelphia again, right? And so you're getting to the most difficult part of your schedule after this bye week, after you play the Raiders. I just felt like the trade was like 2 weeks too late. I'm not really holding out too much hope in what Logan Wilson's going to bring. I do like the Quentin Williams trade. I think it helps him. You get a 27-year-old Pro Bowler, right, who's got 2 years left on his deal, about 25, 26 million, compared to Micah is getting like 47, 48 from Green Bay. And you still have an additional first-round pick that you have. So I like the trade. I like the move. I don't like the move if you think that it's going to help you make the playoffs this year. It won't. But, I mean, now you've kind of solidifying your defensive line. You got Kenny Clark, 30 years old. Quentin Williams, 27 years old. So you at least got some substance there for the next 2 years. You still got to fix the secondary. It hasn't been good. They haven't been healthy, but even if they were healthy, I wouldn't hold out hope that it would be much better. And I mean, it's just, the Cowboys are just really top heavy. The Cowboys are really top heavy. And they're relying on 6 or 7 dudes to really contribute in a certain way every single Sunday. And if they don't bring it, then they're not going to win. And so right now it's a mediocre team that just made 2 trades today.
And that's one of the things I was thinking about earlier today, right? Was that starting the season, like even with or without Micah Parsons, I was like, they're going to have to stack up wins early in order to possibly make this shit, because the back half of that schedule is brutal. I think at one point they played, like, remember last year the Houston Texans played like 3 games in like 11 days?
Yeah, in December.
The Cowboys have a similar sort of setup, like around Thanksgiving. It's like 3 games in 11 days. And I was like, you can probably pencil in 2 losses there, right? And then that's just minimum. And then you start talking about the quality of opponents that we're talking about. They'll have some issues there. So I was like, coming into the season, I was like, look, that game against the Cardinals, that's a must-win. The game against the Panthers, that's a must-win. That game against Chicago, those are must-win games, right? Like those just keep you afloat. Ken, remember we was in college, you ever had a class that you knew I'm probably gonna make a C in this class, but there was another class you knew you're gonna make an A in, and so that's gonna balance that out, right? That's what like the early part of the schedule is gonna be, right? Able to balance out 2 or 3 of those losses that come in the back end to possibly a Philadelphia, to possibly, they got Minnesota, San Diego, the Chargers, right? But secondly, this is going to be a waste of a year of healthy Dak Prescott, right? Which, frankly, at this point, when was the last time he played a full season?
I think he was the year before that.
Year before that?
They shut him down. Then the year before that, that's when we went to the that's when we were like the second or third seed, I want to say.
Yeah,
that's when we played Green Bay.
Right. But I keep thinking all the years before, hamstring injury, finger problem, this, that, the third, the time where his ankle got snapped, right? Dak has issues, staying healthy, right? This looks like, again, knock on wood, a healthy Dak Prescott year. And we've long talked about it. A healthy Dak Prescott can get you 8 to 9 wins just off the rip, right? Dak gonna get you that, right? But they have a healthy Dak Prescott and contract year George Pickens, which means he's on his best behavior. Can we guarantee the health of Dak Prescott and that George Pickens going to be on his best behavior next year? You can't, right? So they're going to waste a great year of Dak Prescott. And if we're honest about it, Dak Prescott is what, 32?
Yeah, 32, 33.
32, 33. And I can't believe it. This is like year 10 or 11 for Dak Prescott, right? He only has a couple of more of these like really high level seasons left in him before the decline starts, right? And so they're wasting that with this horrific defense. If that defense was only average, this legitimately might be a 12 to 13 win team, given the type of firepower which you could put together offensively. But oh my God, Ken, they are I don't know if I've seen a worse defense than this. Well, okay, I'm lying. Other than the Bengals. Them and the Bengals defense, they are about what for the two worst defenses I think I've ever seen in the history of the NFL. Like, they might as well have dudes from Bishop Sycamore out there playing for them. Because this, like, legitimately, before the trade today, I couldn't think of 2 Dallas Cowboys starters or contributors on that defense that I would like for sure want on my team that are healthy right now, right? Healthy, I'd go like DeMarvion Overshown, I think is really good, right? But of guys that are out there right now, prior to these 2 trades today, I was like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't. Number one, I think it's a coordinator issue. I mean, you get a guy, Matt Eberflus, who his defenses have never ranked even in the top half of the league and total defensive performance, and you expect him to kind of come in and change things with a lack of personnel around him. It's not suitable. But I mean, like you said, they're not generating a great pass rush. There's some young pass rushers, guys that have shown flashes, and Jadeveon Clowney, who's a little bit past his prime. And then you're not really generating a lot of pressure, and then your coverage in the backside is not great. Like, Donovan Wilson's been in and out. Trayvon Diggs got concussed in his home.
Okay, have we done an investigation on how the hell you get a concussion in your own house?
It's one of those things, like I thought about when John Wall tore his Achilles by his pool, at home. Okay. Like, yeah. What did you used to say, Alex? Like, don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining. Because 2 things I hate. Piss and I hate rain. Okay. He has a concussion at home. Okay, granted, I'll give you that. Now you're on IR. So, like, a concussion puts you out for 5 weeks.
But he was just at the Youngboy concert.
So I'm going to assume that Trayvon Diggs has played his last game in a Cowboy uniform. I'm just going to assume that he's done because he's been awful this year. Okay, but the secondary is either young and inexperienced, or Deron Bland literally got put on the ground last night.
Yes.
They're just not good enough. And so that's the thing with these picks is like, and we talked about this before, these next 2 drafts are extremely pivotal for the Cowboys because you don't need to get 4 or 5 Pro Bowlers. You're not that far away. Like, you're not the Jets, which we'll get to. Okay. But you just need to get quality starters. Like, if you can get quality starters to fill some needs so you won't be as top heavy, they'll be a pretty good team. What, like, you look at Overshown's draft, right? The 2023 draft. Not even 2 years, like, we're 2 years later, we're 2 years removed from the draft. Ozzie Smith was our first round pick. The backup tight end Shoemaker, Overshown is a pretty good pick, right? If he can stay healthy for the rest of his career. Then you got like Deuce Vaughn, like you got guys that aren't even on the team anymore or aren't even playing, right? So like you basically wasted a whole draft class on guys that are not rotation players. They're not even in your rotation. That really it really handicaps an organization in the development of the team.
Especially, you were talking about Matt Eberflus. It made me go back to this thing. I was listening to the Dominique Foxworth show, and he was talking about how Matt Eberflus his whole entire defensive philosophy is built around getting pressure with 4 guys.
Mhm.
And then on the back end, we're going to do what we going to do. I was like, how it would be much easier to get pressure with 4 guys if you had a great pass rusher, wouldn't it? Right? Like, we've talked about the trade before. I was like, all right, they were like, all right, we need to fix our run defense. So by fixing your run defense, you get rid of your best pass rusher. This is like saying my toilet is leaking, so I'm going to put a hole in my, right? Given like there are parts of this that still make that trade even more mind-boggling, right? Because all right, let's say you fixed your run defense. All right, you still don't have guys that can rush the passer, right? And again, are they in a win now mode or are they in rebuild mode? Because giving up a 1 for Quinnen Williams, a 1 and a 2 for Quinnen Williams is a win now move, right? But the trade for Micah Parsons to get back 2 1s, that's a we're rebuilding move. So
Well, I think we're not paying that money, which again leads to the earlier point. Like, well, you just should have paid them before the market hit,
right?
and
Which has long been that was my thing. I'm like, hey, when Max Crosby and them boys is getting paid, that should have been your time to go talk and strike up a deal.
But since they did it, since they didn't do it, then we're not paying. We're not paying you what the Packers paid you. We're not. Because I mean, the reality is, if we being real about it, if the Cowboys had to pay Micah Parsons $48 million, they would have said that Micah Parsons got over on them dudes. They would have said that he fleeced the Cowboys because that was way above market value.
The Packers
and I get why
blow
Green
the
Bay
box.
did it. Huh?
Yeah, the Packers blew the box on that one.
I get why Green Bay did it because they feel like this one move is going to get us a Super Bowl. And kudos to them. But if we had done that, oh, these dudes, y'all are nuts.
I mean, because the roster ain't deep enough. Yeah, because I'm like,
the roster's not deep enough. So I get it now when we're at that point. I get what you're saying. We should have done it we shouldn't have been at that point in the first place. But now we at the point. So either you're going to pay the man his money or you're going to trade him. And so now, like, we looking at it, and 8 or 9 weeks later, you have a first. You basically got the interior of your D line, which I think it's going to be pretty solid. Now, like pass rushers, we're going to see how these pass rushers fare for the rest of the year. See if they show any promise. Nealon has been pretty good. The other kid name, I can't think of the dude's name from Boston College.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been solid, right? See how these guys finish up the year, but you definitely know you're gonna need some secondary help, and you're gonna need some more you need some more athleticism and speed on that defense. Okay, I'm tired of seeing Jack Sanborn out there.
Jack Sanborn and Kenneth Murray. Y'all are tired of the two of them. Because, man, I saw a clip where people were talking about the worst defender in the NFL, top 6 worst defenders of the NFL, and it was nothing but Kenneth Murray, Kenneth Murray, Kenneth Murray, Kenneth Murray, Kenneth Murray.
Man, it's tough to watch.
I mean, I'll say this about the Cowboys, though, man. Y'all are entertaining, though. y'all are entertaining bad,
Well, that's
right?
always what it's gonna be. Like, this ain't the first. Like, people be talking about the bad defense. They ain't been watching as long as I've been watching. Because
Do
Tony
you remember
Romo
them
had a year like this too. It was
Yes.
a it was a terrible defense. Like, to the point where dudes are just like you watched the Cardinals game last night, I assume.
Yeah, yeah.
Dudes are butt naked wide open. Like, there's no
Yes.
guys in the camera. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't like people making tough contested catches. Like, good defense on first down, second down, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. Jacoby Brissett got named the starter today. That's how good it was.
Hey,
Ja-
look, yo, they have a stat out today. They was like, yo, you want to have a good day? You want to have, everybody plays the Cowboys. They're like, oh, are they actually good? It's like, oh, no, 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 no. They just played the Cowboys. Like, for 2 days, we thought Russell Wilson was back, right? We thought Russell that was the best Russell Wilson that played since not Barack Obama, since Joe Biden had been the president 4.5 years ago. We're like, oh, maybe Russ still got something. And the next thing, oh, no, no, no. He was just playing the Cowboys. I'm going to run down the stats for you, Ken. Quarterbacks to play a full game against the Cowboys this season. Russell Wilson, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jordan Love, 337, 3 touchdowns. Caleb Williams, 298, 4 touchdowns. Justin Fields, 283, 2 touchdowns. Jacoby Brissett, 261, 2 touchdowns. Bo Nix, 247, 4 touchdowns. Bryce Young, 199, 3 touchdowns. Right? Styling on them boys. Absolutely styling on them. And it's the level of bad where this is teach tape for how not to be a bad defense. Like, here's how not to play defense professionally. Look, and as bad as homeboy's son had been playing, Harvin Marison Jr., right?
Man.
Ken, you saw the clip where you sent me the thing where his daddy was talking about the offense is terrible, and you could quote me on that. And someone was like, "That's the person I don't want to show up in the parking lot after practice trying to talk to the coach, because your life might be in danger."
Well, that's one thing we can thank is the Dallas Cowboys for giving the dad something else to do. Because if he ain't watching the games, maybe idle time is not the best thing for him.
No,
Okay.
Jonathan Gannon was probably thinking, "God's like, oh, thank God, we're gonna play the Cowboys this
He
week."
picked the right person to hit that week. He picked the right person to hit the running back. Because if he had hit the wide receiver, we might not know Jonathan Gannon right now.
You mentioned like part of this that Quinnen Williams trade was from the Jets, and the Jets basically had a fire sale today. Traded Quinnen Williams, traded Sauce Gardner for 2 ones,
Almost traded
and
Jermaine Johnson too.
almost traded Jermaine Johnson and Breece Hall. Right, so they got back 3 first-round picks today.
Mm-hmm.
So they have I think 5 first-round picks in the next 3 years. And once again, if you're the Jets, you're starting all over. And for me, I don't know about you, the idea that like picks mean great capital. I don't quite know how great I feel about that, especially this last time Jets did a good job of player identification. It seemed like development around at every position except quarterback, right? Sauce Gardner, really good. Jermaine Johnson, really good. Breece Hall, really good. Garrett Wilson, really good. Quinnen Williams, really good, right? This all goes back to that two failures. The failure to actually develop Zach Wilson. I mean, I don't personally think they should have drafted him that high in the first place. And then trying to fix that up with the Aaron Rodgers trade. And I think 2 years ago, we should have all seen it coming. The moment Aaron Rodgers snapped his Achilles on the second or third play of the season, this day was coming. Today was coming. And so if you're the Jets, you're going to start over again and start this process over and, have a bunch of high picks, probably get some pretty good players, and then ultimately not put it together. Like, man, I don't know. Maybe we talk about people being on the heron, right? And the heron being stepped on, right? This ain't even heron, a Coke. right? This is just straight baking soda and water. Them folks putting in their veins, man. That's all it is. This ain't even Reggie. This is just
So-
straight up dirt.
They've got 2 first-round picks this year, and then they've got the second-round pick from Dallas, and then they've got 3 first-round picks next year. Yeah, it's a reset. It is to me, it's like okay, Aaron Glenn, we should, this is what a good organization, like we should allow you to try and develop this new core that you're getting. That's what a good organization, in my opinion, would do. But we know they're the Jets. And it doesn't always work out that way. Like there are some places, right, that I think we talked about this. There's some places you just can't overcome. Right? Like, well, like we'll say Aaron Rodgers. Look how he looked last year with the Jets. Right? He looked terrible. Now, I mean, he doesn't look like Green Bay Aaron Rodgers this year, but he looks like a serviceable starter. Right? Pittsburgh has a pretty good record. And like you mentioned, it's not like he was playing with Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Like it was some good players on the Jets. There's some good players, but like it's some places like Detroit forever, you could not overcome. Cleveland, you could not. Baker did it. Like he got them to the playoffs, won a playoff game, then they let him go. Right,
and they let him go to bring in a sexual degenerate, allegedly.
Come on now, allegedly.
And then he fell apart. Let's keep going, Ken.
Yeah, and then he falls apart. Right, there are some places you just can't. Sometimes you just cannot overcome it. Todd Bowles was in New York, right? He got fired. Todd Bowles is a pretty good coach. What he's doing in Tampa Bay, right? He's having success. I get it. Like I like the reset because it wasn't getting you anywhere. So you might as well just start over and try and figure something out. And hopefully you hit on one of these picks and you can get a guy. But you briefly alluded to it. A franchise quarterback changes things, right? Zach Wilson was in the draft. He went 2, right?
Trevor Lawrence was 1. He was 2. Trey Lance was 3. Justin Fields went like 11 or 12.
Jeez, that was rough. But imagine the Jets' future had they hit on a quarterback. Imagine on Jets' future had they hit on the quarterback with these pieces that they have. Odds are they probably won't have some of these pieces because they wouldn't have drafted that high.
I mean, hell, how good would they be if they would have had the first pick and drafted Trevor Lawrence? Now, Trevor Lawrence ain't what we thought he was going to be. Trevor Lawrence appears to be some measure of decent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But hell, the Jets haven't. When was the last time the Jets had decent quarterback play, right? Chad Pennington? That year of what? Ryan Fitzmagic, right? Rookie year Mark Sanchez when he handed the ball off to Sean Green. And speaking of Mark Sanchez, hey buddy, we were talking speaking of rocks and heron, right? When was the last time they had even average quarterback play, right? Their quarterback play has been so putrid over the last, really better part of the last 20 odd years that even when they had good rosters, it wasn't built around the quarterback, right? Like if they just had a service, like if they would, I'm really thinking about it, right? If the Jets would have had Baker Mayfield over the last couple of years, I ain't even talking about Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield. That's easily a playoff team because the core of that roster defensively and our wide and our running back was good enough. And for me, I'm like, there's no excuse for this roster to be this talented, and they are this terrible, right? Which is why, for me, Aaron Glenn, there's no way I would have taken this job, right? We are still at the place with black coaches where we got to be iffy and choicey because if we get a job and it doesn't go well, chances are we ain't going to get another one, right? Like we saw Antonio Pierce and Gerard Mayo be one and done. And that's probably the end, like head coaching career wise, that's probably going to be it for them. Think about how long it took for Raheem Morris to get another shot, Todd Bowles to get another shot, right? You don't get very many shots at this. I think this is also why the D'Amico Ryans really went out on the market. He had offers from everybody, and he took the Texans job. Like, no, brother, reconsider, read some literature on the subject. Like, no, brother, don't. We don't get 2-3 chances. You don't end up like Adam Gase. We ain't gonna have 2 or 3 shots like Josh McDaniels. Like, that's not gonna happen with us. So I'm like, I'd like to think that Aaron Glenn is gonna get a second year and get to try to build his own core, right? But are you sure about that? Because again, they look horrible, absolutely horrible. The way they ended that game in London, I was like, dog, Aaron Glenn, I don't. He might not be. He might. This might not be for him. Like, this head coaching thing might not be for him. And I hate to say that about a dude who I think is like a really good D coordinator, because I want us to get these opportunities. But I'm like, nah, he's doing worse than the guy that they just fired. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. And again, this is a conversation as an organization that you have to have with your head coach, especially after you're making moves like this. Like, look, we're bad. We're going to suck now. But you have to have, I mean, you are. You're going to be terrible.
He said, we suck.
Yeah, we're going to suck. I mean, we just traded away 2 of our better players. But we believe in you as a coach. We believe that you're going to right this ship. We're going to allow you to have input on the guys that you want to come in here. And then let's see what we can do. And what have they won a game?
They've won 1. Like, I legitimately, we got early in the, like, through 6 or 7 weeks in the season, I was like, the Jets were on like 0-17 watch for me.
They had some good games though. Like, I thought they had a chance to beat Pittsburgh. Was that first game of the season?
They did, yes.
They had a chance to beat Tampa and folded down the stretch. That was when Aaron Glenn was dancing Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes.
I love how that dance fit like 5 different Earth, Wind, and Fire songs. Like, they put the whole soundtrack on it.
They did. That has been the highlight of this season, low key.
That is a highlight of this season, because like they thought they were going to win the game. It was less than a minute left. I do want him to be successful too. I do want it, like, selfishly. I want him to be successful as a head coach. And I think it would be dope to see the Jets good. Like, they ain't been good in a long time.
That's one of those fan bases you want good things to happen for. Like, I say that about the folks in Detroit. You're like, them folks have been long suffering for a long time. They deserve nice things. And
Yes.
they're not jerks, right? Them folks in Cleveland, right? Now, again, maybe Cleveland is just cursed, right? I don't know, right? Like they sold their soul for that to come back from 3-1 against Golden State. And God might be saying, this is all you get, right? What did John Cena say when he came back? You get nothing, right? Cleveland got that 1 title and that's it, right? But like them folks in Cleveland, the Giants at this point, man, them 2 Super Bowls in the last 25 years, they feel few and far in between, especially now that they've been cheeks for the last, cheeks for the better part of the last 10 years. They have been butt, right? Absolute butt, right? The Raiders are cool, right? Like, if the Raiders were good again, oh man, how cool this would be, right? But for the Jets, you really just want something good to happen for these people, because I've met Jets fans and I was like, first of all, why? Especially young Jets fans. I'm like, you're born in 2008. What the hell are you doing rooting for the Jets? Like, you have no
That's
connection
dedication.
to this.
That's dedication.
Right. It's like rooting. I mean, you can sometimes say that about younger Texans fans, right? Or younger Cowboy fans, or young Jaguars fans. You're like,
People ask me all the time, because I've never seen it.
what is it? What your pops, your grandfather, they Cowboys fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but for them, it makes sense. They didn't seen Tony Dorsett, right? They didn't seen Aikman, right? Aikman, right?
Yeah.
Yo, it's so funny when the OGs start talking about it. It's like, boy, 1973, they had just opened Texas Stadium, boy. Damnedest thing I ever seen in my life, right? When they start reminiscing like that, and here you over there, remembering Tony Romo with them bad defense, to Dak Prescott dealing with all this dysfunction, right?
The only thing
Boy,
I'm reminiscing on chances, right? I'm reminiscing on 2014 when I thought we had I thought that was one of the best teams I've ever seen. One of the best Cowboys teams I've ever seen. 2014, 2016,
21.
21, 23.
You know what you sound like? You remember on Roscoe Jenkins when he was talking, when Martin Lawrence couldn't get with Nicole Ari Parker, so he just been thinking about that for 25 years? You gonna be thinking about Des Bryant and that catch until you old, until you can't remember no more, right? That stuff you gonna remember, you know what I'm talking about? But here
That was
you
a
are,
great year, bro.
like,
It
that's
was.
something, that's something as a fan I've been thinking about, right? There are times, every year you don't expect your team to win a championship. But if it's fun, that's
It was
like,
fun.
hey, this was fun. Like the year, what year was it? The last couple years the Lions have had, the Lions, this was fun.
Yeah.
I talk about this, and I've told different people this story, right? My senior year of high school, we went 10-2 that year. We had spent all of those years getting our ass kicked, like just getting whooped. Like we was like the Jets, getting our ass whooped, getting our ass whooped, getting our ass whooped. Then our senior year, we got to hand out some ass whoopings, and we was hanging 40, 50 points a game on people. And we almost won the district title. We went to the second round of playoffs and we lost, right? But if you ask any of us that were on that team that year, we were like, yo, that was some of the most fun we've had. Like, that was like really a fun 5-6 months. It was fun. And everybody remembers that team. Everybody remembers us like fondly. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, but it was, you don't always have to walk away with something, but the thing people can latch onto is this was fun, right?
The feeling I have that more about the 2016 team.
Okay.
And the 2014 team was like the first time, like, I'm a LeBron fan, so I had seen my favorite teams win championships.
Your favorite player win championships.
They were my favorite teams. Like people. Okay, so I want to
I
go
like messing. I like messing with you on that one.
I know, but I go down this rabbit hole because I always get that. Like you just a LeBron fan. No. Like when I'm locked into a team, I'm locked into a team. So like I'm going from the first guy to the 15th. I'm listening to interviews. I'm listening to post-game practice. Post-practice interviews, right? I'm listening to everything. I'm locked in, right? So, and now that I think about it, the Heat had won 2012, 2013, 2014. That's when the Cowboys go
14-2.
14-2.
Yeah.
It's not a better feeling as a fan than like knowing, and this was my first time facing this in football, week in and week out. Y'all gonna win the game on Sunday. Like it got to a point at the middle of the year, like I knew we was winning on Sunday. The only thing that hurt me was that catch. It was. Because when we went to Seattle and we beat Seattle in Seattle, which back then,
Yes.
for those that don't remember, you wasn't beating Seattle in there, in the 12th man. Out with the Legion of Boom, them dudes was rolling. And I said, we're going to meet them in the NFC Championship. We're going to beat them. We going to the Super Bowl. We're going to play Brady. Now that I look back on it, it doesn't really look like a catch in today's standards in the NFL. But it very much looked like a catch back then. And I just wanted the chance. Like, give us a chance to score it. And if A-Rod is going to game us, then he games us on a game-winning field goal. And then I'll say, you know what? It was a dang good year, but we lost to a better quarterback and maybe a better team. 2016, I always felt like there was a ceiling on that team. I never thought that they could win the Super Bowl. I thought the 2014 team could. I just felt like at some point youth was and inexperience would take over. But it was a good time. Tony Romo goes down. My whole expectations go down. Ezekiel Elliott is like the best running back in the league. And we're steamrolling dudes. We're steamrolling them. And Zeke is running, and it was a great time. But I knew at some point it was I just didn't think it would happen again to Green Bay.
And Aaron, see,
and Aaron Rodgers. And then 2 years ago, I think the green monkey has got off my back. I said, well, Green Bay has snuck in, right? Like, I'm not afraid. They barely got in the playoffs. No Aaron Rodgers this time. He ain't coming to Dallas. Jordan Love and Aaron Jones sneak in. And it's
pour you
over
all a
by
good one.
halftime.
Hey, you talk about embarrassing and humiliating. That's what that was, bro. Like in a way to where there's no, like, I made the joke at the time. I said, man, I ain't seen Jerry this upset since they had to desegregate them schools. Like Jerry looked furious, and it was it was a mess. But speaking of a mess, Ken, the LSU Tigers, a few weeks ago when they fired the American Dream, Brian Kelly, we were like, this might be the best job in America. They're going to have people lined up to take this job. It's the only Power 5 game in the state. Oh, LSU has to turn dudes away. We're thinking, oh, who could take this job? Maybe Lane Kiffin, maybe Clark Lee, maybe this person, maybe that person. And that was all the whole thing until the governor stepped up. It effectively fired the athletic director and said, no, the board of trustees is going to run this search. Anybody going to run this search except Scott Woodward. Hell, if Donald Trump got to pick the coach, he will. And I was like, and at that moment, this went from being the best job in America to a job possibly no one wants. Ken, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, right? But I've heard different people talk about, they're like, oh, she's nice, she's pretty, she's all this, that, and the third. But wait, her brother just got out of jail? Her baby daddy's crazy? Huh, this changes things dramatically. Maybe we should take this a little bit slower. Maybe not take this at all, right? Because that's why I'm thinking LSU is at this point. Like you talk about a mess. Like the governor is at the podium and he's supposed to be at a press conference talking about, the government shutdown, are people going to be able to get their food stamps? And he up here taking questions about the LSU coaching search. What? You know what I mean? Is that the damnedest thing you've possibly ever seen?
Yeah, that definitely puts a dark cloud over, like, if I was a prime coaching candidate, right? I felt like LSU was a top 5, top 3 job in the country. After that, I don't know. I don't know if like Florida is calling, or who else is open? Florida,
Penn State,
probably Florida State, Penn State,
Auburn.
I don't know if it's just going to be head and shoulders above those programs now. So it'll be interesting to see who the candidates will be now that this has happened, who they will try and go after. Because they already said Urban Meyer's not leaving. So my theory about that is done. Okay.
I still can't. I was still like, Urban Meyer. I
You
was
can
like,
keep the
hey,
heart
man,
monitor
in this
on at home.
dog, man. And for those of y'all that don't know, Urban Meyer, well, 2 reasons Urban Meyer had to leave Ohio State. One, his receivers coach had been beating on his wife, and Urban Meyer didn't report this as he should have. He ended up serving with a 2-game suspension. But they were allowing, like, Urban Meyer having, like, some real deal health issues to kind of, that was basically, we're going to have you retire. I think they told him, hey, buddy, this going to be your last year. And, your heart already ain't doing too good. That'll be covered. We'll give you full pension. Going out of here, right? It's not like we didn't see the man almost have a stroke on the sideline, right? So I'm like, and then the last time Urban Meyer was a football coach, Kennedy Miller, you remember, the Jacksonville Jaguars legitimately had to call human resources because he was kicking people at work.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't send Urban Meyer back out here. Urban Meyer cannot. In 2025? Oh, now, Ken, I do have one thought. And someone mentioned this on a few places earlier. And this person is been kind of quietly lobbying to, be considered. Kennedy Miller, would it be crazy if I was like, maybe Ed Odron used to be like a 1-year or 2-year interim?
I've been seeing that.
Before they let the Heat, so maybe they can get this coaching pool isn't going to be as deep and quiet as it's kept. They're not going to get, I don't think they're going to get the big, super high profile, big fish coach they think they want. Because
would
for
it
me,
be?
right. Because for me, if you fire in a coach with a $53 million buyout, you don't pay that kind of money to tell your coach to kick rocks to go hire a coordinator, right? You don't pay that kind of money to make a coach go away. You only do that if you go in to get somebody sitting head coach, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, I can't imagine Dan Lanning leaving Oregon to come to this job. I can't imagine Steve Sarkisian leaving to take another college job now, a pro job. Yeah, I could see it, right?
Yeah.
Ryan Day wouldn't leave Ohio State to come here, right? So if you're thinking of pulling a big, Marcus Freeman would be an option, but you just fired the coach you got from Notre Dame. You're not going to go back to that well twice, even
Very
though
true.
I think Marcus would kill at LSU. You're not going to do that. So it's like, who do you go to, right? For me, I'm thinking, look, you need to start looking at people who have done more with less. Clark Lee at Vanderbilt, Mike
What's the
Elko
guy?
made it.
What's the guy from Georgia Tech? You said
Georgia Tech, Brent Key.
Brent Key. What about the guy from Arizona State?
Dillingham. Dillingham might be an interesting one.
Kenny
Dillingham would be interesting. Younger.
Mm-hmm.
He's not from, I think he coached at Memphis for a while, right? So he's had some experience in the Southeast. I'm not sure how, bringing in another outsider, but, well, you can be an outsider, like Nick Saban from West Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Sarkisian had never been to Austin, Texas before he got the UT job, right? So as long as the person isn't like a used car salesman or being a charlatan like Brian Kelly, trying to be fake,
With
I
the
think
fake
they'd
accent.
be all right. I
One of the
still
worst
can't.
things. One of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. In a sporting capacity, right? Like the audacity to think that we were all stupid enough not to think that we didn't see what this is.
Like, did you
Like,
put
why?
like, and he from like Vermont?
It's like, I think he's like from the East Coast.
Yeah, I know he's from he's from New England. Like, I'm looking this up now because the American Dream, Brian Kelly, is from Everett, Massachusetts.
Yep.
Right. So I'm like, what are you doing? But I think a part of me, like the idea of bringing Ed Ogeron back, I don't know if that could work for a couple of reasons. Number one, the last time Ed Ogeron had this job, not only did he have a host of Title IX issues, he was also, after they won that national championship, and he and his wife got a divorce, he got a brand new contract, and Ed Ogeron was in the streets, right? Ed Ogeron was on them. And I mean on them, right? To the point, Kennedy Miller, y'all, I don't know if y'all have heard this story. Ed Ogeron is at the gas station filling up. There is a woman who is also at the pump at the gas station.
Yep.
He's like, I'm in workout clothes. I'm in workout clothes. You don't work out clothes. Let's work out. Maybe we can work out together. And the woman he's speaking to, not only is she married, not only is she pregnant, but she's married to someone who is on the board of trustees at LSU. Like Ed Ogeron. So that's just one story. Then Ed Ogeron, not only was Ed Ogeron parking lot pimping, Ed Ogeron with some of these other, women that he's dealing with, he's bringing their sons, these women's children, to practice and have them participating in drills with the team. And Ken, I forgot the time. Did you ever hear the story when he was a head coach at Ole Miss during the first team meeting? Ed Ogeron took his shirt off, threw it down, and challenged the whole team to a fight. Did you hear that?
I've never heard that.
Like, this man's a lunatic. This man might be out of his mind. Like, I don't know if Ed Ogeron can be the highest paid employee in your state if this is the kind of stuff he's doing. Like, I don't know if you can put Ed back out in charge. But damn it, Ed would be happy as hell, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Because I mean, he's still living off his firing check.
Yes, he ain't worked since. That was 4 years ago he got canned?
Man, because they won in 19, right?
Yeah, he got fired 2 years after that. Yes.
Yeah, like he's still living off that. So you gonna give me another check to come back? Man, There's not many more better jobs in this world than a fired college football head coach.
Dog, and I think Brian Kelly got a dollar to dollar offset in his contract. So if he gets some job, whether in media and coaching or something like that, his buyout, like however much he's getting paid, like he gets paid $3 million from a job, that lessens his buyout by $3 million from LSU. So it goes from 53. Let's say the job, ESPN paid him $3 million, goes from 53 to 50 because ESPN is paying him the other 3. Man, I think I told you this last week. I'll be trying to find a job like Tommy from Martin was trying to find a job. Yeah, I'm looking. I'd be looking in the yellow pages or the white pages. Ain't looking for no job. Look, I'd go volunteer, right, at the Boys and Girls Club. I'd go volunteer for the United Way. I might build some houses, Habitat for Humanity with Warwick Dunn. I might do it. I ain't doing a damn thing related to football. Hell, think about it. We ain't heard from Jimbo Fisher in, 2 years?
Yep. For what?
I mean,
I think that man's getting close to $800,000 a month for the next 7 years.
Retirement. I'm retired.
Yeah.
Retired, buddy. Like, we talk about never working again.
Mm-hmm.
As a fire college, man, please. You can't get me to go take some job at Troy or to be, go be, head of special projects for the Bears. You can't get me to do nothing, right? I have hit a lick. Like, Ken, imagine if you went to your job. It was so bad, they paid you $50 million to go away.
Man, that's crazy to me.
Don't that sound like a reward? To me, I'm like, yo, I'd be like, hell, forget the winning games. Let's get to the buyout portion of the proceeding.
Right.
Let's get to the point. Let's get to the point. Y'all fire my black ass. Let's get to like, wait, you gonna put that? How much money? Oh hell, wait, I get that money. Like, if y'all don't fire me for cause, I get that much money. Now again, the only idiot who was able to mess up something like that, mess up a bag like that, was Del Tucker.
Yeah,
and he ain't. What a fool. Right? Like, just, I know it wasn't worth it. But, hey, man, Ken, this is when when your younger coaches tell you, man, hey, these split-second decisions can change your life. Mel Tucker, HR menace, right? And you talking about never working again. Mel Tucker is never working again. And speaking of that, Kennedy Miller, you know who's also not going to work again a day in his life? And for a totally different reason.
Who's that?
Chauncey Billups.
Yeah.
We are 2 weeks into this NBA gambling scandal, and the more that's coming out, and if you haven't seen it, if you've been under a rock for the last 2 weeks, right? Chauncey Billups, a sitting NBA head coach, got arrested, right? Because he was apparently the bait to bring people in to these rigged poker games that were being organized by the Mafia, the 5 families. Like, when people say the Mafia, you ain't thinking of them little corner boys down, they got a washateria that's a front for a drug running operation. No. We talking good fellas. We talking about some real wise guys. We talking about Paulie and them. You are in the pocket of the Mafia? Yo, I don't think enough people are making a big of a deal about this. Because I feel like 25 years ago, we'd have been like, what on earth? Like, the stuff with Terry Rozier, which I feel like we all knew was coming, right? Is more so, some, shenanigans, bet the under. I'm only going to play a couple minutes and say my stomach hurt, right? That's one. Right. Michael Porter's brain dead ass brother, right? It was basically that, right? If that's your thing, right? Again, that's very easy to figure out because who the hell is betting $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 on John Tay Porter? Right? Who's putting up that kind of money on Terry Rozier on a random Wednesday against Indiana? No one, right? Like, you very quickly realize this is a scheme, right? But the stuff with Chauncey Billups, like a sitting NBA head coach, seems to be doing the bidding for the Mafia, and that's indictment 1. And the other indictment, there's a dude, co-conspirator 8, which, dog, this person was not named, but I'm like, dog, if this ain't Chauncey Billups,
yeah, it sounds like
I don't know who else it could be. Right. Who else could this be? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely not a good look, especially as a active head coach. And then like you start to think like, there's no way Chauncey was in this by himself. There's no way that even if he was in this by himself, that other people did not at least show up or were there. You know, there's already starting to be some rumors about Ty Lue, right? They say KG might have went, but then he left early. He thought it was something else, right? Because anytime you watch one of their podcasts, they're always talking about those are their best friends, right?
Yes.
Chauncey, Ty Lue, KG. So I'm like, who else? Because we know that Paul Pierce is a wild boy. Like, we're old enough to remember Paul Pierce getting fired from ESPN.
Yes.
Right? And that's just at his house.
Hey, man, and look, for real, though, he walks so Shannon Sharp could fly. Not in the reason Shannon Sharp got fired, but in terms of IG Live wilding.
Like, so who knows how far this who knows how far these dominoes will keep falling? And this is not a good look for the league. It really isn't. It's really not a good look for the league right now.
The thing with Chauncey, like, he's been the most like fascinating part of this whole thing, because you wonder, how did you get here? Right? Like, that is the biggest thing that kind of like, that's interested me. So I've been reading a little bit on The Athletic. They got a story about like Chauncey Billups, and the story is entitled, "How Did Chauncey Billups Team Up with a Career Criminal?" Right? So the dude who I guess Chauncey's connecting to all this was some guy. This dude's first name was Eric, but his nickname is Spook. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm like, this person has to be black, because I can't imagine a white person being like okay with people calling them Spook, right? Like, this is a situation like, Ken, with my mama, I was one time, like 2013, 2014, when I'm a Stoner by Young Thug came out. And my mom was like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "Oh, this is Young Thug." How come you can't have a better name? Why would you call yourself something like that? Why not Young Scholar, or, something more uplifting? You're going to call yourself Young Thug. Damn, what kind of name is that? Right? That's how I feel like when I heard the name Spook, right? I said, if your nickname is Spook, you got to be black. And apparently Spook done time. Spook has been a career criminal. Spook done time for robbing a bank. Spook did 12 years in the federal penitentiary, because Spook was moving kilos for the Black Mafia family in St. Louis in the mid-2000s.
Goodness.
This is who Chauncey Billups is like homeboys with, right? Now, again, your friends are your friends are your friends, right? But something they also said, because they caught Spook on some of these wiretaps, was that when Spook was not selling coke, you know what Spook was doing? Spook was rigging dice games and gambling, right?
This is not looking good for Chauncey.
I really want to know how an NBA Hall of Famer, again, your friends are your friends. We all got some friends that have been some places and done some things, right? People have been to jail, done time, whatever. Not trying to demonize a brother on that end, right? But in the point where now you're ensnared in this criminal activity, alleged criminal activity, like, you have a whole hell of a lot more to lose than all these other people. Which makes me ask, I don't want to sound like Terrence Howard in The Best Man Holiday, but I mean, it begs the question, Kennedy Miller. Do you need some money?
Do you need some money, man?
I mean, what? Because why else? Why else? Other than if the Mafia put a gun to your head, why else would you be doing the bidding of the Mafia and some dude who was hanging out with the Black Mafia named Spook? Why else? How? Like, Chauncey's going, and hopefully this all comes out in court. Chauncey's going to have his day in court, where he's going to have time to explain how some of this happened. Because, again, I find it hard to believe the feds bring a case on you, brother. They know the jig is up.
Yeah, they've been like, feds bring case. They've been doing their research on this for a year, like for a while. So like they ain't just getting something out the blue. They have hardcore evidence against you.
And that's my thing, right? When we start talking about federal big time cases, especially when you start talking about some high profile people in these cases. With the level of attorney that a guy like Chauncey Billups can afford, they don't bring a charge. The feds ain't going to bring a charge unless they think they can send you to prison, right? Think about this in terms. Say that one more time.
You got to have they got to have all their ducks in a row.
Yeah. Like last year, we talked about it in the lead up to before Diddy got indicted, right? I was like, they're taking a long time between the time when they raided his house and when he was actually indicted. There was like 6 months in between. And I was like, this is a whole lot of time. And I was like, either they don't have much and that raid didn't yield much evidence they can use to put forth a case towards a grand jury, or they got a whole lot and they're sifting through it. And sure enough, they had a whole lot of what they thought was evidence, and they brought RICO charges and sex trafficking charges. And it was like, oh, if they brought a charge against a billionaire, they think they got him dead to rights. So with Chauncey, it's like, all right, man. And I think for the league, the NBA, you mentioned this, right? This is an issue of legitimacy for the league, right? Like a sitting NBA head coach. Again, Chauncey's was not officially named that other indictment, but he was, all the characteristics fit Chauncey Billups. That Chauncey Billups, apparently, again, someone that sounds and was described and fits Chauncey Billups' description, was giving out insider information to gamblers, right? That compromises, you could argue the integrity of the game, especially when basketball is the easiest game to rig. And I think for the NBA, what does it say in terms of Terry Rozier that the NBA found nothing in that investigation? And then here the feds come, oh no, there's actually something here, right? Did that just mean that when y'all looked at Jonte Porter, he was just so terrible and so stupid in the way he went about it, it was easy for you? And maybe Rozier was a little bit better, so you couldn't find anything? And that especially, for me, is really important right now because the Clippers are accused, Steve Ballmer's accused of finding a way to give Kawhi Leonard $30 million of that brown paper bag money? Like, for the league, I think this is all bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it taints the image of the league. David Stern would never have allowed this, by the way. The FBI would not have been able to get in those NBA headquarters doors. Papers would have been shredded. Things would have been burned, right? David Stern is not letting you do this, right? That whole Tim Donahue in 2007, that whole scandal. Nah, y'all not touching this. We'll handle this in-house. This is a one person act. There is no group behind this, right? Adam Silver's like, I had no clue this was going on. Like, nah, bro. Like they got to figure out, they got to find some answers for this quick, because it can go downhill very, very quickly.
Speaking of downhill, Kennedy Miller, the Colorado Buffaloes, Kennedy Miller, they're cheeks.
Yeah, they're
like
done.
capital C, capital H, capital E, capital K, capital S. Cheeks. Booty, 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 rocking everywhere. Is the party over for Coach Prime in Boulder?
I mean, at least for this year it is. I just don't know how much incentive he will keep having to come back and coach, right? Like, this year is done. Like, they're getting whooped. They're getting embarrassed, right? Some of the plays that you see, I don't even watch their games anymore, right? Which is it is and I don't think anybody does, which is a far cry from, like, dude, his first year, I was in the club at like 11:30 watching Colorado and Colorado State.
Yes.
And I wasn't the only one. Like, the DJ is like yelling out the updates and everybody's watching it. Right? I mean, how many people were on the sidelines? I think LeBron was out there one sideline.
LeBron,
The Rock, right?
Michael Irvin.
Well.
Look, Michael Irvin heard there was going to be a good time in Boulder.
Come on
I don't
now.
even know how much he was there to support Deion. I don't even know if he knew he was there to support Deion.
He's there for the wrong snow. He's there for the wrong snow. Right. But now, I mean, look at all that popularity, all that has died down. What is Jacquees still come to the game?
I mean, I think Jacquees has to go to the games because Jacquees got a baby with Deion's daughter.
Right.
So I think that might be the only reason Jacquees is there. But don't nobody even know Jacquees enough, right?
Right.
Like, don't nobody even know Jacquees enough to like recognize him, right?
Man.
Yeah. So like, it's the and this one thing I think for Colorado, right? It's one thing to be bad, right? But they're the worst kind of bad. They're the kind of bad that's unwatchable bad, right? And so the last couple of weeks, I've been watching them all season because for me, the telltale sign of if Deion's program was going to be sustainable was going to be this year, right? Your sons are gone. Your adopted son, Travis Hunter's gone. Those 2 or 3 other guys that are on NFL rosters at receiver, they're gone as well, right? Can you sustain a program? You went from 4 wins to 9 wins. Can you kind of stay around that similar level? And this thing is falling off a cliff completely. They are the worst kind of bad. They are unwatchable, right? At least when we talked earlier, we talked about the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals. They're not good, but hell, they're entertaining. They keep you on the edge of your seat because it's gonna be a game, right?
Yep.
With Colorado right now, it ain't even entertaining because they just getting their ass whipped from pillar to post from the word go. Ken, they getting their ass whipped so bad. I'll put it to you like this. Ken, have you ever, when you were a kid, have you ever heard your sibling in the other room getting their ass whooped and you just hear them just hollering, right? And you were in the other room not getting your ass whooped. You're like, damn, mom and dad, damn, they going to work on them, right? And then they walk out like your sibling walks out and they can't even fake like it didn't hurt. They real deal in there, like they boo-hooing for real, right? That's Colorado. The Colorado go in the room to get their ass after they had a bad day at school and the whole neighborhood can hear them getting their ass tore up, right? This isn't even close. How you come off a bye week and you down 43-0 at half. And then the next week, after a game like that, you expect you're going to come out with some sort of juice, some sort of fire, something, some sort of pride. And they come out and get their ass from pillar to post like that the exact same the next week. Like, that's where I'm like, all right, man, I think the party's over. And the stadium was like 3/4 empty midway through the third. The only people that were still in the stadium was some dudes who ran to the student section and took their shirts off and were twirling it around. I was like, oh, man, I think for Deion, this is it. And if it is, like, this is legitimately probably the end of his coaching career. Yeah. Because Deion's not going to go be somebody's DB's coach.
Yeah,
like,
no, he'll be done.
I think, remember how we talked about Urban Meyer? And like the health reasons were his way to kind of like they were trying to push him out because of the whole Zach Smith thing. That's what I'm thinking with Deion.
I really thought that was going to be at the beginning of this year. He had announced that press conference. It was like the next day. I thought it was going to be like, due to my health issues, I'm going to be stepping down. I'm going to be stepping away from the game. I kind of thought that was going to be what it was because, again, I ain't there. Travis Hunter ain't there. Like, you ain't got no more kids coming up. So, like, what's going to be your drive to keep on coaching? Especially you getting whooped like this. That takes a toll on you.
And it takes a toll on you. But on top of that, you've got no ties to this area, right? You're not like you have no ties to Boulder. You have no ties to Colorado. But on top of that, if you're being paid like a top 10 coach in the sport, making $10 million a year, people are going to judge you that way, right? You in that Dabo, Steve Sarkisian, Dan Lanning type of range, we're going to judge you by that.
As they
right?
should.
And by that standard, he hasn't lived up to that, right? Now, it's one thing, again, I've always had a problem with the way he built his rosters. Like, every year, it's 30, 40 new transfers in every year. I'm like, that's not sustainable. Look at what's going on at Florida State. You might hit for a year or two, but these other 3 that you don't, like, every year you're playing, you're rolling the dice instead of developing your own culture, your own players, your own systems, your own infrastructure. You're trying to, microwave this thing every year. Right. And on top of that, Deion don't seem to like some of the core parts of this job, which is like high school recruiting, like actually getting on a plane, going to a high school and recruiting, right? Like, his answer for why he can't go to a high school because it would be too much press, too much publicity, too much hoopla is ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Nick Saban and them boys go do it all the time. Cesar Sarkisian and them boys go do it all the time, right? I would feel like that's a satisfactory answer if he was like, health-wise, I can't do all that moving around. Like, I would say that's a more satisfactory answer. Now, again, it make me ask the question, all right, if health-wise you can't do one of the core parts of the job, can you fully do the job? But that's a better answer than, I mean, it would be too much hoopla and too much of a ruckus at the school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think when you bring up the Nick Saban example, that's the perfect one. Like, I mean, that dude's won 4 or 5 national championships, and he's up at high schools trying to get kids. So I'm sure it's a lot of hoopla when Nick Saban is there. Now, I mean, some of those other coaches, yeah, they're successful coaches, but they're not Deion. I get the popularity side, but you got a dude that is regarded as one of the best, if not the best to ever do it. And if he can do it, and he's 20 years older, then why can't you do it? Right? Like, and at some point, you got to look in the mirror, like, is what I'm doing right now, is it working? So what needs to change? And that could be the start of it. Like, it's got to be a better development program, a better development system, getting high school guys in there, getting acclimated to your system, right? It should be some guys now that you got from high school that are going into their sophomore, junior year, right? That should be ready to be on the field for you next year and compete. Will that be the case? I don't know.
That's the thing, right? There are some issues that team, Deion's first team, had in year one that they still have now. The offensive line still sucks. It's still terrible. That should not still be a problem at all in year 3, or at least this should have gotten better, right?
Mhm.
That's still an issue. His teams don't really have like a definitive identity. Like, when we think about like certain teams, we know we know Dan Lanning's teams have like a certain feel to them, right? We remember those Wisconsin teams in the mid 2000s, in early 2010s. We knew what they were about, right? We knew those Urban Meyer teams. We knew they were going to be big, fast, and physical, right? With Deion's teams, what do we expect, right? Like, what's your identity, right? And then on top of that, again, it comes to me like you actually have to like coach. And I say that because those 2 years at Jackson State, he was able to get by on the talent advantage, right? He had a whole bunch of Power 4, Power 5 drop downs, right? So basically, Deion had about an average group of 5 roster playing an FCS schedule, right? Like, something I always think about those 2 years when Deion was there was, if I took the guys who played at UNT and I drove them 3.5 hours southeast to Houston, either Prairie View or Texas Southern, and put them in their uniforms, I'm like, y'all would look the exact same way. So he was getting by on the talent advantage. At Colorado, that talent advantage isn't there, right? That's not an easy job. The state of Colorado doesn't produce a lot of good college football players. So you really got to beat the bushes and recruit and develop and do all of those things. That hasn't happened, right? So, but I'll think about it like this, though, Ken. You know what they'll have? Those Colorado fans, you know what they'll have?
What?
2024. They won 9 games and they had a Heisman Trophy winner. And kind of like we talked about earlier,
It was a fun year.
it was fun, right? It was
fun.
fun. In 25 years, well, forget 25. 10 years from now, 12 years from now, 15 years from now, people will look back on that season, the fans,
It'll be a 30
the
for 30.
players. Right. It'll be interesting to talk about. Do you remember the 2 years where Colorado football was the center of the college football universe?
Mhm.
Not Tuscaloosa, not Baton Rouge, not Columbus, Boulder. It was fun, right? I think, whenever this ends, because it might be at the end of this year, it might be next year. But those first 2 years, what you'll have was, I mean, Ken, I think you kind of mentioned it. You said it best. It was like Linsanity. People was at the club.
It was like Linsanity, bro. I ain't know
People's at the
nothing
club.
about Colorado State. But I mean, you know, they were just treating them like, or we, I guess, were just treating them like they were the ultimate antagonists in the movie.
like they the joke.
Right. Get him. Get him. Like everything was put on pause for Colorado football. You had to make sure that you were sitting down on a Saturday or Friday for like those first couple of weeks to watch one of their games to see what was going to happen.
Fun times. Good times. And that is another episode of the Gameplan Podcast. Kennedy Miller, my guy.
Always a pleasure, my brother.
Where can the folks find you on Twitter, my man?
Find me on Twitter _Kennedy Miller _ Again, that's _Kennedy Miller _
All right. You guys can find me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, that's on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That is T as in tacos, S as in spook, M as in Michigan. Ken, I told you before the show what that man's nickname was going to throw you off.
You did, and it did.
I told you, dog. I told you. I said, you're not going to be prepared for what this man's nickname was. And so now every time I say the word spook, I have to say it just like that. Spook, right? Follow the show on Instagram at _ the Gameplan Podcast. Again, follow the show on Instagram at _ the Gameplan Podcast. Follow us on our official Gameplan Podcast YouTube channel, where if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like, hit share, hit subscribe. Tell 10 friends to tell 10 more friends to tell 10 more friends about the Game Plan Podcast. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, we appreciate you guys for listening. For Kennedy Miller, my name is Alex Goodwin. This has been the Game Plan Podcast. We will see you guys next time. Take it easy.